Now, the extraordinary diplomatic storm has developed over tweets from US President Donald Trump. Yesterday, he retweeted 3 videos by Jada Franson, deputy leader of the far-right group Britain First, which campaigns against what it calls the rapid growth of militant Islam. The videos purported to show Muslims attacking Christians or destroying Christian icons. But the veracity of all 3 has been questioned, with the Dutch embassy in America saying one video allegedly showing an immigrant offender actually showed a man who was born in the Netherlands. Theresa May's spokesman said it was wrong for the president to have done this, as Britain First seeks to divide communities while peddling lies and stoking tensions. And the spokesman said British people overwhelmingly reject the prejudiced rhetoric of the far right. Sajid Javid, the only Muslim cabinet minister, said the president endorsed the views of a vile, hate-filled, racist organisation that hates me and people like me. Well, Donald Trump's press secretary, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, was asked about the president retweeting videos whose circumstances he knew nothing about.
Whether it's a real video, the threat is real, and that is what the president is talking about. That's what the president is focused on, is dealing with those real threats, and those are real no matter how you look at it.
So it doesn't matter if it's a fake video?
Look, I'm not talking about the nature of the video. I think you're focusing on the wrong thing. The threat is real.
Well, last night, Donald Trump responded by tweeting at Theresa May, "Don't focus on me, focus on the radical Islamic terrorism that is taking place within the United Kingdom. We're doing just fine." It's not the first time he's waded into British politics. And after the London Bridge attack, he criticised Sadiq Khan on Twitter for allegedly telling people in London there was no reason to be alarmed, a remark the London mayor says was taken out of context. And after the attempted terror attack on the tube at Parsons Green Station, he tweeted without corroborating evidence that the people responsible had been in the sights of Scotland Yard. Well, the Home Secretary Amber Rudd has been speaking in the House of Commons on this matter this morning.
We have been very clear. President Donald Trump was wrong to retweet videos posted by the FAR group Britain First. We have said so clearly in this House, and the Prime Minister has said so clearly online. We will continue to speak freely and frankly when it takes place.
Amber Rudd. Well, let's talk now to Drew Lickerman. He's in Dundee and he's the chairman of Republicans Overseas in Scotland. Welcome to the programme. Should Donald Trump be retweeting fake news?
I don't think should he be retweeting fake news? I think Donald Trump retweeted tweets that he saw that Ann Coulter, who's verified on Twitter, a well-known journalist in the U.S., retweeted. He saw that she retweeted an account with the verified check mark. I think that it was a mess up, and I'm not defending him retweeting it, but I don't think Trump was willingly tweeting fake news or that he was tweeting fake news. I think
but should he be retweeting something that hasn't been verified and, in fact, was contradicted by the Dutch embassy?
No, and I've said publicly before, I think that Trump should undo the retweets of the 3 videos posted by the deputy leader of Britain First.
Right. I mean, why is Donald Trump, in your mind, publicly rebuking one of his closest allies by criticising Theresa May?
I think Trump, I'm not sure. I don't think he should involve himself with internal UK affairs the same way I criticized Barack Obama for trying to intervene in the Brexit election. I think that Trump is best staying out of internal UK affairs.
But this was this was a very personal tweet to the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Is that wise?
No, it's not wise, and I think Trump was trying to bring up serious concerns about radical Islamic terror, and he went about it the completely wrong way, which serves to hurt his cause. There's ways the UK and the US could be working together looking much... they can come across much better than the way Trump did, so I think he went across it the wrong way. He retweeted accounts where he had no idea who it was, who the people were representing, so I think that it was I think it was a failure on Twitter yesterday is how I would put it.
Right. I mean, what point is he trying to make?
I think Trump is trying to make the point that radical Islamic terror is a serious threat. I think the point about the UK was the UK admitting Brits who went to go fight for the Islamic State in Syria back into the country. He was trying to make the point of unvetted immigration, whether it be Islamic terror or whether it be MS-13 crossing the border into the U.S. And like I said, I think he did not make the point well. If anything, he served to hurt the point.
Right. So you think he's done more harm than good?
Exactly. I think Trump wanted to bring up great points, and he went about it the wrong way. He retweeted people. He didn't know who they were. He didn't know what organization they're with. I mean, virtually nobody in America has heard of Britain's First, and I guarantee you, I mean, I've been very involved in UK politics. I've lived in the UK. I had never even heard of Jayden Franson, the leader that he retweeted.
But you're not the President of the United States. I mean, you've said it's done more harm than good, that it might, to some extent, have put pressure on, if not risked, the so-called special relationship between the United Kingdom and the United States. And the Muslim cabinet minister here in the UK says that the President of the United States has endorsed the views of a vile, hate-filled, racist organisation that you say you haven't heard of, and obviously the President hasn't heard of, that hates me and people like me. In your mind, do you think Donald Trump's a racist?
No, I don't think Donald Trump is a racist. I think it's a term that everyone would like to throw around, but I think Donald Trump like I said, he retweeted the videos to try to bring up a serious concern. He retweeted, so he only follows 45 people on Twitter. One of the journalists he follows retweets someone with a blue check mark. He sees a blue check mark, someone who's verified, retweeting another person with a blue check mark who's verified, and he thinks it's certified news, which it wasn't.
Okay.
Which I think it's a very big misunderstanding. I think another part of the misunderstanding is that people in the U.S. I mean, Britain First is a very small fringe group. And it's a group where I think a lot of people in the U.S. don't realize the gravity of the group or the seriousness of the group.
There are British politicians calling for the invite to Donald Trump to come to Britain on a state visit or otherwise to be withdrawn. What do you say?
No, I mean, I think that's a bit too far. Retweeting 3 tweets, you know who it was. I mean, like I said, I've called on Trump to undo the retweets, but look at some of the people that the UK have invited to come do state visits. Middle Eastern leaders, Chinese leaders who have just been grotesque people you can't even compare it to. I mean, and that being said, if Jeremy Corbyn was Prime Minister of the UK, he's referred to members of Hamas and Hezbollah as friends, group whose in their charters call for killing of innocent Jews. That's horrible in my opinion, but I would never say let's not invite Jeremy Corbyn to the US.
Drew Lickerman, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
We're joined now here in the studio by former US Assistant Secretary of State James Rubin. Welcome to the programme. Let's pick up first of all on the state visit. Do you think that invite should be withdrawn?
I think that's a pretty dramatic step to withdraw the invite. I think what clearly, from the time this invitation was first put forward, I had the feeling that Theresa May was making perhaps too much of a personal relationship between the president and the prime minister, and now she's paying the price for that. And they thought that Donald Trump would be all impressed by going to see the Queen and staying in Buckingham Palace, and that would make it more likely that he would do something on trade or something on a trade agreement. That's not going to happen. Donald Trump is going to make decisions based on what he thinks is right or wrong, not because he gets to sleep in Buckingham Palace. So I think they've over-personalized it. I think to cancel the visit would be, again, to over-personalize the relationship. Doesn't mean we have to, or the British should have to agree with this horrendous behavior of our president.
How horrendous is it in your mind?
I mean, I was not a fan of the president during the campaign. Pretty much everything that I worried about, feared about the individual, not just the policies, but the individual's behavior, the bragging, the lying, all that has come to fruition. On the specifics, it's a real problem, and the problem is terrorism is going to be resolved through a process within the Islamic community. There are 1 billion Muslims in the world. Moderate Muslim leaders have to be the one to do this. When Donald Trump does this kind of thing, he makes their job much harder.
This is a diplomatic nightmare, isn't it?
Very well put.
For the Prime Minister. Yeah, let's put it that way, because she, in some people's minds, rather hastily offered this state visit to Donald Trump. Do you think she can really cancel it or postpone it further?
Well, I agree with Jamie. I don't think the British government wants to escalate the situation by cancelling the trip, but the trip is still sort of sometime, maybe never. It's supposed to happen next year. We still don't know when. the problem Downing Street have had is that they quite understandably thought we need to get alongside a new US president, but they
She didn't have to offer a state visit.
She didn't have to offer a state visit, and certainly not straight out of the box. And I think the problem has been that they tried to treat Donald Trump just like any other politician, and Donald Trump is not like any other politician, and they're discovering that to their cost.
Right.
You actually hear accounts of Theresa May on the telephone with Donald Trump. And he bamboozles her all the time. He sort of blusters his way through the call. Theresa May finds it difficult to get her talking points across, apparently. And, you know, we're seeing it again. The guy can go on Twitter and change the whole terms of debate with one tweet.
What do you think would be an appropriate response from the British government? Theresa May has obviously tweeted. There has been criticism from Downing Street. Is that really enough?
Well, as I was mentioning earlier, this issue of moderate Islam, the leaders of the moderate Islamic community being empowered and not harmed. And so what I think I would do would be to take the issue of empowering extremist, fascist, right-wing groups who are attacking Islam and do some sort of report that shows the American president all the steps that we're doing here.
Well, the British government should do this.
Right, and all the steps that they are doing here, and how the empowerment of fascist right-wing groups harms the cause.
Do you think that would really stop Donald Trump tweeting?
No, I don't think there's anything that the British government can do to stop Donald Trump tweeting. His chief of staff can't get him to stop tweeting. I can assure you the British government can't.
Right.
But one thing I would do, and this is probably in the journalist world, and I know one's never supposed to tell journalists what to do, so let me just suggest something, which is I don't think that he rebuked her. I think if you read the tweet within the context of tweet language, it wasn't a slam on Theresa May. He said, no, he disagrees with her. Focus on this problem. He didn't say, Theresa May, wrong again. He didn't do all the things that he does when he wants to slam somebody.
Did you see it as a rebuke?
Well, I think it's pretty extraordinary when one leader is tweeting at another. I mean, Jamie's right.
Agreed.
He didn't use the word sad, so I suppose it was
and
outside of his normal.
We're going to have disagreements. He's from New York. He likes this sort of thing.
These sound like excuses, James.
No, I'm not making an excuse. I'm saying what's coming is that you're going to have to get used to this. This is going to happen over and over again. Big, strong, public disagreements.
Isn't that the truth? I mean, James Rubin is right. Isn't that the truth? For all the rhetoric and for all the words, unless action is taken, like withdrawing the invite or alternative rebukes from Theresa May, then the British government's just going to have to live with it.
Well, this is a case for some good old-fashioned diplomacy, isn't it? Politeness in public and blazing rage in private. And
Boris Johnson would be a good...
Well, I think someone should be on the phone to them making clear that this is unacceptable and that the damage that they're doing to the position of her as a leader at a time when she's extremely vulnerable. And if he cares about that relationship, then maybe that might...
I would say that of all the countries in Europe, I think just knowing what I do of Mr. Trump over 30 years in Manhattan, he likes the British. I mean, he likes this country. He respects. The reason why they gave him the visit is because they knew he'd really like it.
But it won't change his behaviour, though, you're saying, in that sense. So
his chief of staff can't get him to stop tweeting. Nobody can get him to stop tweeting. He's been tweeting things that are repulsive for a long, long time.
So should the British government be grateful that Donald Trump likes the British and likes the government?
No, but just should be aware of it, try to deploy it. But remember that the relationship between the United Kingdom and the United States is not just Donald Trump.
So it's not imperiled?
No, because it's not just Donald Trump and Theresa May. There are deep and serious ties in the intelligence community, in the military sphere. If you want to improve relations with the United States, what I'd say is forget Donald Trump, is get back in the game of international affairs. Get your defense capabilities built up and again be the ally of the United States that you had been for decades and decades. That's how to be doing a better job with the United States.
James Rubin, thank you very much. Bye.
We will make America great again.